Hey, fellow beautiful. Thanks for coming back, checking me out, y'all. This is gonna be another story time. Ooh, child. This one is gonna be kind of rough, y'all. I swear. But before we get into it, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you are privy to every single video that I upload, y'all. Okay, let me pull y'all in just a little bit closer because this one is, it's kind of rough. So, anywho, now years ago, right? Years and years ago. And I'm going to be as sensitive as I possibly can with this story, right? So, somebody, male, right? He was adamant about talking to this one particular girl, right? And I saw him one day hanging out the window, and he's hollering at this girl, trying to get her attention and all of this, right? And I'm like, who you talking to? And he was like, oh, I'm trying to holler at old girl. And I was like, I looked to see who it was, and I said, that's not her. That is not the one for you. Okay. And he was like, what you mean? Why are you saying that? I said, because she is the neighborhood whore, you know, and she had been with everybody inside and out of the neighborhood, right? Now, he didn't care what I was talking about. He wasn't halfway interested in what I was saying, right? This glare is blowing me. But anywho, he said, let me see what this looked like. Yeah, no. But anywho, he was like, well, I'm gonna talk to her anyway. If she talks to me, if she give me her number, then I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna call her and all of this. I'm like, whatever. I said, you're gonna be sorry. And, people hear that a lot of times, but they're not trying to hear it a lot of times. And so he pursued her and ended up talking to her anyway against what I tried to tell him. This was my better judgment, right? He didn't listen to it. So he ended up getting with her anyway. And, it was a lot at first. He was a Scorpio man. And he was persistent. Do you hear me? I know his hormones were raging, and it was like at that point, it could have been anybody. Anybody that he saw, he would have been trying to talk to, right? But it was her. So now she did every single thing that she could to get him to move out, get them a place together, and all of this. First place they ended up getting, just a couple blocks down and a block over, right? He is working hard at work. She got men coming in and out of the house every time. He is at work. People were telling him he wasn't trying to hear it. I tried to tell him he wasn't trying to hear it. So now, my family, we ended up getting this family building, right? 3 stories, and he ended up moving in with this bride, you know. So y'all can imagine, where this is going. It was all bad, okay? Now let me tell you this because I can tell this story because I was involved, right? Or supposedly. Anywho, so she wanted to get pregnant by him so bad. As far as we knew, she didn't have any kids. This would have been the first. This is what we thought, right? Anywho, so I'm talking about every chance they got. That's what they were doing. I'm talking about just going at it. Anywho, finally, she ended up getting pregnant. Now, we were excited. This was his first baby, right? And he was worked up and he was so excited and this, that, and the third. Now, we already kind of knew that this chick had issues, right? Didn't know to what extent. Finally, go into labor, go and have the baby, blah, blah, blah. They came back to the house. Now, we didn't know that her plan was to get him alone, to get him by himself, her man, get him by himself because she didn't want other people around. She couldn't control him or run him the way that she thought she could or she wanted to. So she had to come up. She had to have some kind of antics, some kind of trick, to get him out the house, right? Now, had the baby. I'm talking about the prettiest little baby you ever want to see, but everybody thinks newborn babies are the prettiest or the cutest or oh, that is a fine little, oh, that little handsome man. Just every single thing that you can say about a baby, right? So she ended up, I think he was at work, and she ended up coming down to my house, right? I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, and I already did not like this chick. I did not like her from the beginning, but nobody's paying attention. Ain't nobody listening to none of this. So I'm in the kitchen. She got the baby. This is a baby. He might have been, I don't think he was a month old, month, 2 months. He was a little baby. I'm washing dishes, right? So you know how you have a double-sided sink? I was on one side of the sink. It was full of water, dishwater. I moved to go do something else. Do you know she had this baby and she was doing this, holding him, guiding him over this water, and all I'm looking like, I said, girl, I'm looking at her like, girl, if you drop this baby, I'm gonna beat you right here in this kitchen, right? So, I mean, accidents happen. We don't know when or how, but they do happen. Anywho, I said, you cannot do that. I'm getting pissed off at this point, right? I said, you can't do that. And she was like, he like it. He like it. In order for you to believe that he likes it, then that means that you are doing this all the time. So you put this baby in harm's way. Now, I'm ready to snap, okay? So now, check this out. She stopped. And then I sent on her way, girl, because you're not about to hurt this baby down here. You're not going to do that. Okay, for several reasons, right? Some time passed, but see, she was building and working up on something to get him out of the house. He got to get out this building. She want him to go somewhere else where ain't nobody else around so she can do whatever mess she was going to do, right? Do y'all know this bride, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can, okay? Because I want to say something else. This bride ended up trying to really convince him, but this is how she thought she was going to do it. All I know is I get a phone call one day, right? You know who it was from? DCFS, right? Department of Children and Family Services. This was back in Chicago. This was a lot of years ago, right? Here I go. They said, oh, can I speak to, they called my full name. I said, this is her. They said, well, we have allegations. Allegations? I said, what kind of allegations are these? Well, so-and-so and so-and-so said that you burned her baby. I'm talking about mouth dropped to the floor. Do you hear me? I'm talking about my heart was almost out of my chest. And I said, what? And she was like, well, that's what she said. I said, I don't care what she said. I said, I would never. That's not even in my character. I love kids way too much. Ain't no way in the world I would do nothing like that. She was like, well, we're going to investigate it and this, that, and the third and all of this nonsense. This probably going to go long, y'all. This definitely going to be longer than my regular story times, okay? Because it's a lot to unpack. Anyway, and so she said, well, we're gonna investigate this, and we are always for the best interest of the child, and this, that, and the third. I said, absolutely. I said, what do you need from me? And, she asked for my name, my birth date, and all of that kind of stuff. I guess they wanted to run a check or whatever. But anywho, I was like, okay. I said, now when am I going to know any of this? And she was like, oh, we'll contact you, blah, blah, blah. She said, we'll probably come out and like interview you or something. I said, that's perfect, fine. So they ended up coming. It was a lady. And she ended up coming. Now listen to this, y'all. Just listen to this. So this lady, she ended up coming out. See, she thought that was gonna be the thing to get him out of there. I almost said something. Get him out of there. Anywho, so the lady came and she said, she was like, "Are you Miss So and So?" I said, "That would be me." And she said, "Well, I just want to get a little bit of information and stuff from you, blah blah blah." But see, at this time, now you know how certain agencies and stuff, they usually be super private, right? They're not gonna give you too much information until the investigation is over with, or whatever the situation is, whatever's going on, right? So she said, well, this is the allegation. She had a envelope and a folder, not envelope, a folder, right? And she was like, well, this is what she alleged that you did. And she was a real nice lady and all of this. And I said, wow. And, my family is like, what? They hadn't even heard of it yet, right? I told my granny, of course. Me and my granny was like this, so she knew everything. Okay. Anyway, she was like, they was like, what? Who said that? And she told them, right? And they was like, never. They said, if anything, she was the one to do it. Now, we had already had conversation. I'm talking about little powwows, little family meetings, and all of this about this bride, right? Hooch, ow. And I'm talking about if I could have, I ain't finished because it's more. Anywho, so let me get to this. The lady is talking and she said, yeah, well, we did some investigating and stuff. We don't see nothing under your name. You ain't never even had a traffic ticket. Okay. I know. Okay. I did whatever I did when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and all of that, right? But that is serious. I would never. Anywho, so now my reels are rolling. I said, something just told me, and when I say something, I mean the spirit. I'm talking about my daddy is always with me. He ain't gonna never let nothing happen to me that ain't supposed to happen to me. That was wrong, and that definitely wasn't happening. So let me tell y'all this. I started asking questions. I done started prying at this point, right? I said, I'm gonna get to the bottom of some stuff because something just wasn't right about her. Anyway, and so I said, is she in y'all system? And she was like, well, we're not really supposed to talk about our clients and this, that, and the third and all this and their kids. I said, so she is. This is how smart I am. I said, she is, huh? He said, well, the lady, she said, well, she is. She said, and I'm just going to tell you the truth. Here I go. Tell me everything. Don't leave nothing out now because we need to know. I said, my family is at risk and at jeopardy for somebody that shouldn't even be around us in the first place, right? Anyway, I said, why is she in y'all system? I said, this is the only kid she got, right? And she was like, she didn't really want to get into that. Here I go. You said you was going to tell me you want to talk. I said, I'm talking and I'm listening. Okay. She said, well, she does have other kids. Other kids? We thinking this is the first kid. Other kids? How many kids she got? The lady said this bride had 3 other kids. We ain't never seen no kids with this girl. Ever. We've seen her and her brother. And then her and her brothers, because she had 2. Where are these kids at? She said, well, now we about to get too deep now. I said, you done already started talking. You may as well finish it. She said, One kid was with his grandmother. Another kid was adopted out. The other kid, she did something nasty to him, okay, inappropriate to these kids. So you got three kids that you don't have. You don't have custody of. You can't even visit these kids. You ain't got no business with no kids. You shouldn't have never had kids, okay? So now it's like now a whole lot of stuff made sense. So she was pressing him, okay, to have a baby because she wanted to be a little family. But she wanted him off to just her and him so she can do what she wanted to do, right? Now, finally, so she couldn't tell me anything about the investigation, right? So, but she could have because you just spilled everything else. So we just in shock at this point. Anywho, she leaves. So about a week later, I get a phone call, and the lady, this was a different lady, and she said, "Oh, is this Miss So and So? This is me." She said, "Oh, I just want to tell you that we finished our investigation and nothing was found." And here I go, I already know that. I know this. And she said, "Well, you didn't know. You just know it right now because I'm telling you." Girl, I know what I do and don't do. And I know I ain't hurt no kid, right? Here I go. So, what was the founding? She said that the burn, wherever it was on him, right? It looked like a cigarette burn. No, she said that she tried to say that it was a cigarette burn. She said, but it was too small to be a cigarette burn. It had to be like an incense burn, or incense or a matchstick, right? Huh. So, in other words, you would hurt your kid and blame it on somebody else just because you wanted to move out so just you and him could be just y'all, I mean, come on now. Really? So you would go to that extreme. I can only imagine what you did to the other three. Okay? So, of course, that wasn't going nowhere. And I told my mother one time, right? She stayed under me. And I told her, I said, you know what? When I see this, yeah, it's going to be a problem. And she was like, no, no, don't do that. Don't touch that girl. And this, that, and the third. You're going to end up in jail. Yeah, I go, that lied on me. I said, I'm not having that. When I see her, I'm going to crack her head, right? But I ain't say it like that. It definitely wasn't that nice or that calm. I said, I'm going to crack this head. Okay? I meant it. Oh no, they had to hustle her out of there. She cannot come in here. She ain't coming in here or downstairs from that point forward, obviously. But then guess what? Because everybody knew I was serious about what I was saying, they had to go. They ended up going somewhere else, right? Didn't see this bride for uh, probably a couple years. And then guess what? She was pregnant again, had a second baby. But this is how you just cannot let everybody around your kids. That's number one. Number two, you cannot have babies with everybody. I'm talking about when you think that you know somebody inside and out, you don't know what they are capable of. I'm talking about, do you know their absolute history? Do you know what they did before they got with you? What intentions do they have? Do they have plans on doing anything positive? I mean, what do you know about somebody? Do you know the ins and outs of their days? I'm just saying, did you do a background check? Because these days you definitely got to. I'm just saying, too much stuff happening, y'all. But anywho, ended up having another baby. I loved these kids, right? Anytime they came around, because they would go and see his mother, right? The guy's mother, her man's mother. They would, and she lived next door to me. Now, Not in the same place, not in the family building. This was somewhere else, right? And we'll go over there and see them, and we'd be talking, blah blah blah, whatever. I love those kids. They used to always be like, "Kitty, hey, Kitty," and they would be excited. I would be excited to see them too, and all of this, y'all. Right? This is going kind of long. I'm trying to shorten it. So, she actually had told them, don't talk to her. And when I would see them, they still would. And then the baby, he was so handsome. He'd say, "My mama told us not to talk to you." And that hurt my feelings. And it's like, you still got all of this hate for what? I ain't never done nothing to you. I ain't never done nothing to you. I ain't never said nothing to you out the way. Until, right? Anywho, that went on and on and on, for the longest time. Now, I didn't care about none of that because I was going to always address them when I saw him. And when the baby used to come in my house, he was about 3. And he used to come in my house. He'll come in, and I had this cat, that sat on my TV on the entertainment center, and he would click the cat's paw. He'll pinch it, and it'll meow. Anyway, that was my baby. Anywho, so the tragic end to this story, y'all, and I'm gonna finish it out because I already know I'm gonna get emotional. So he had asthma, the baby boy. He had asthma, and yeah, she whooped him one night, sent him to bed. He hadn't had his dinner or nothing. His big brother went to go and wake him up for dinner. He wouldn't wake up. She whooped that boy, sent him to bed, and he died in his sleep. Okay. So she's screaming through the house, and she was like, how come you didn't wake him up? I told you to wake him up. He said, his big brother, he was like, he got blood coming out his nose. It was dried up. He had passed already. Whew. We wanted to kill him. Went to the hospital. It was too late. But that had happened already. Get in the hospital. I'm talking about, I went and found this bride. Do you hear me? I went and found her. They had my family in one room. They had her and her family in a completely different room, okay? Supposedly it wasn't close to where we were. I went and found her. Do you hear me? I'm talking about, I busted in the room, blah, blah, blah. It took every security guard in there. Do you hear me? Every one of them to get me out of there. All I can say was she killed him. She killed him. Anywho, y'all. Yeah. Be careful who you let around your kids. I'm just saying, I already didn't start the waterworks, y'all. But be careful who you let around your kids. I'm just saying, it's not worth it. It ain't worth it. Be careful who you procreate with. It's not worth it. I'm just saying. But I'm going to end this now. I'm going to get myself together, y'all. And I'm going to come back with a double upload.